5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
We're about to celebrate Thanksgiving Day. But what does it mean to give thanks? Why do we give thanks? And what's the connection to our faith? That's what we're going to be talking about today on Ignition. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Bergwald, and we want to set your faith ablaze so that you might live the adventure that comes from a relationship with Jesus Christ. But before we talk about Thanksgiving, we want you to know that we love listener feedback. So if you got questions about today's episode, or if you have ideas for future episodes, please contact us. The easiest way to do so is by good old email. The address is ignition@sfcatholic.org. Again, ignition@sfcatholic.org. Do you have a comment about the email address?
Good email.
Good old email. I'm joined in studio once again. What was that?
That's my I hate email.
Oh,
growl.
I thought that was a pirate. Arr.
No,
What's the connection?
No.
That's Renae Kranz.
Forgot my eye patch today.
On the other side of the table from me. So Renae, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving because when folks are if they're listening to this hot off the presses, if you will, we're just days away from.
Okay, it's the weekend before then.
It's the weekend before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, the holiday that sadly has been completely subsumed by.
Haven't they all?
Christmas preparation.
Yes.
In our stores.
Well, they've all been subsumed by something.
Haven't they all? Haven't they all?
They all have.
And I'm surprised. So I'm going to tease something at the end. If people want to dig into the Ignition archives, episode 289. So near 200 episodes ago.
Oh my.
I think it was 2016, Father Dickinson and I recorded an episode.
By the way, what episode are we on right now?
Today, this is episode 484.
Okay, are we going to have like a big 500th episode
Well,
party?
I want to get, long-time listeners, Bill might remember this, I want to get all of my my occasional guest co-hosts in. There's been
someone asked me about if we were going to have some big shindig for the 500th episode.
Bill's trying to figure out how to make that work in our studio because there's only so many mics to go around.
We have to record someplace else.
But it's a mere 16 weeks away.
Yeah.
16 weeks.
So
episode
sometime
500.
next year.
How many podcasts get to episode 500? Not many. We're not talking about. But this
probably not many Catholic ones.
This is not a show about the show.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So. Let's move on. Yeah. There we go.
We have some new sound effects that Chris is going to be
we
experimenting
got a soundboard.
with.
Thanks to Bill, our illustrious engineer, producer, whatever. All right, Thanksgiving. So we're about to celebrate Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Why do we celebrate? So we're gonna see where this. I've got a direction that we're going to go.
Hopefully
but
I won't take you in some completely other way.
Oh, we can meander a little bit. This is not going to be a 28-part episode like the Mass one is probably going to be, or more.
Because we could and talk about each ingredient in Thanksgiving dinner or
I'm
something.
If you want to tell me what you have to eat, that's fine, but we're not giving out recipes. This could be a cooking show. Can we get an overhead cam, Bill, to it's now you start the Julia child. Okay. All right. Thanksgiving. When you think about the holiday of Thanksgiving, and take this in every direction you want. So if you want to take it with cranberries and stuffing, whatever, just as a way in, when you think about the holiday of Thanksgiving, what comes to mind? How do you celebrate it? Why do you celebrate it? What do you guys do? What's the Kranz household do? What do you do?
For us, okay, so I don't want any of my family members to take this the wrong way.
Please stop listening to this episode.
Mom, turn it off. No, I'm kidding. For Ryan and I, for my husband and I, holidays can be a bit stressful because we go to multiple places over multiple days, and it gets to be a lot.
You're both introverted. You just can't.
Yeah. Well, yes. So, but to me, it's once everything gets sorted out, who's going where, when. For me, it's really a time to spend with family and to appreciate that stuff. The food's great, yes, but I try really hard to not focus on the food because food gets me in trouble anyway.
Sure.
So I try to focus on the people and the time spent.
Okay. So are there, and I don't think there is for us, is there something about how I have one thought for us. Is there a way in which Renae and Ryan Kranz celebrate Thanksgiving where it is really about giving thanks? I don't know that that's a common thing. I have one kind of way that we might do it, but I think for most people, it's what you just described. Being together with people you love and enjoy being around, whatever. So it's about people. Of course, there's things like football and, of course, the food and so on.
I forgot about football until you just said it. I don't know how that happened.
But can you think of ways or possible ways, even whether you do or not, ways that you could?
Yeah. And Ryan and I don't always do this, but some years we do go to Mass on Thanksgiving morning, which I really enjoy if we can arrange it, because it sets the day kind of right into that more appreciation for what you have and, those kinds of things, into that mode. You can make sure you pray before the meal and maybe even do more than just your regular Catholic prayer.
Right.
You'll probably get a few eye rolls around the table, but you could do go around the table and what are you thankful for or something. We've done that once in a while.
Yeah.
Not very often, but
we so oftentimes my wife is getting the baking going, so it's me and the kids, but it's part of our tradition. And I have teenagers. They're not all teenagers, but I have teenagers, and most teenagers, not all teenagers, but like most teenagers, do I have to? But
especially it's early on Thanksgiving morning. It's like 8 or 9 usually. It's not like you're not going to a 10 or 11 o'clock mass.
That's true.
It's an earlier mass.
But having said that, my kids are, like their dad in particular, maybe mom as well, Jermaine. But they do love traditions too. Mm-hmm. So this is just part of what we do. So I don't, to be honest, I've been surprised the last couple of years. But they're not listening.
Oh, okay. So this time, Bergwald's family, please stop listening.
Yes. They haven't really fought me too much.
Oh, good.
On getting up to go to Mass. So we go to Mass, we come home, we have the caramel rolls, we run to the airport to pick up Grandpa. Mm-hmm. We stop and get bagel and donuts or bagel and coffee for Grandpa on the way home.
Oh, my goodness.
And then we get into the meal. That's just, that's it. There's a whole, but we have certain things that we do.
Maybe they think the caramel rolls won't appear if they don't go to Mass.
Oh, they know better than that.
They will either way, huh?
So we do, so at least some of us are able to start the day with Mass. And I think it's worth here. I was going to save this till later, but I think it's just fitting here. The word Eucharist, Renae, what does the word Eucharist mean?
I hate when you ask me these questions, and I should know because we've talked about it, and I just cannot.
What's something?
Communion? No.
What are we talking about today?
Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah. Gratitude. Thanksgiving. Something like that. Somebody help me. Oh, no. Okay.
It means Thanksgiving.
I got 6 buzzes and then the bell.
We're going to go with that, though, for the communion, though. I had to get that
really.
It does. It means Thanksgiving. Eucharist means Thanksgiving, to give thanks. There is, I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds just because it'd be a bit of a different direction. But in the Old Testament era, there was one of the sacrificial offerings, which was a Thanksgiving offering.
Oh, okay.
And before the temple, I believe before the temple was reestablished, when they couldn't yet offer, rededicated, when they couldn't yet offer the Passover sacrifice, they offered the Todah, Todah, I believe is the Hebrew word.
Okay.
I think for the Thanksgiving offering. So the Mass, we've talked before in our lengthy series, what will be a lengthy series in the Mass, how it's got its roots in the Passover, but the Passover married with some other things like the Thanksgiving offering. Because I think it was an offering of grain, of wheat.
Oh, okay.
So the bread connection.
Sure.
Anyway, the word Eucharist means Thanksgiving. So the Mass is, among many other things, a prayer of thanksgiving to God for the many, many gifts that He has given to us.
So it totally fits on Thanksgiving Day.
It totally fits on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
But I want to take a step. So there's that liturgical dimension we could go down, but we're not going to go that route today. I'm thinking more, again, kind of how I opened up the show. What does it mean to give thanks, and why do we do it? And then what are the other connections to our faith? The Mass connection is actually, once you understand, think more about the Mass, it's more obvious, but there's other connections as well. So what does it mean to give thanks, Renae? Like if some little niece or nephew said, Mom and Dad always tell me I have to say thank you. Auntie Renae, why do I have to do that?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
It means to show appreciation for something someone has done or given to you.
Okay, great.
That would be my definition.
That's a really good answer.
Okay. It's like I'm on a game show.
Why do we do it?
To show our appreciation for something someone has given.
Why do I need to show appreciation? So this is okay. Bergwald children, stop listening. One of my kids, after they do their chores, they sort of expect me to thank them for doing their chores.
Okay.
And no, that's just part of your contribution to the household.
Right.
So I'm not going to thank you every time you do your chores, but maybe I should.
I don't know. I don't know.
Why do we give thanks? To show our appreciation. Why do we need to show our appreciation?
I don't know. I was going to say so people know we appreciate them, but I keep going back to
all about appreciation.
I don't know why, but I must not be totally on my game today or any day, apparently, because I don't know.
So I don't know, Renae. There's a right answer to this one, but
so you set me up for something I can't give a right answer for anyway.
But no.
Bill's nodding his
There
head.
are answers
See?
to be given. The fact that you don't, never mind. I among other things, I think it's a great way for us to love other people.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That sounds like a great reason.
You can't really go wrong with talking about love.
You can't.
So you've done something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And thanking you is a way for me to express my appreciation, but also it's a way for me to love you in what you've done for me. But thanking is also to acknowledge, another A word, appreciate, acknowledge. It's a way for me to acknowledge that you did something for me that you didn't need to do.
Right.
Usually, most of the time, almost always, maybe, I'm thanking for somebody they did something that was optional.
Right.
You know, if you think about, so let's play that out. What do we normally? What are some times when you'd say thanks or thank you to somebody?
Well, when I probably let's just say it's you, if I come and ask you to do something, let's say, usually Dr. Bergwald goes through and reads all of the stories from the Bishop's Bulletin to make sure they're theologically sound and so on. But let's say I have an email I need to send out and I really need Dr. Bergwald's opinion on it. And this is outside of his purview or outside of his normal duties to the Bishop's Bulletin. So that would be hey, you don't really have to do this, but I really need you to. So if you could, thank you.
Right. No, as I was thinking about it, oftentimes at the end of when we're recording Biblical Bites with Dr. B segment, the opening segment for Catholic Views, you'll say, thanks, Dr. B.
I do.
So there's an instance where maybe in a sense you don't need to because I'm just doing my job. But again, I go back to my first answer. That's a way of you expressing gratitude, appreciation, love.
Right.
For me and for what I've done in that case to make your show awesome.
And to me, that thanks extends from the audience too. For teaching us something we didn't know before.
There we go. Yeah. So
hopefully we didn't.
Hopefully. So usually not out. So I think you can never go wrong with. I mean, you can always say thanks more than you quote unquote need to.
Yes.
But usually, I think it's your example of me maybe doing something outside of my normal purview.
Right.
Obviously, when somebody gives me something that I didn't expect or didn't deserve, if you will, they didn't have to do it. Oh, thanks, Renae. Oh, thanks, so and so. So we're recognizing and expressing appreciation, as you said, and acknowledging, expressing appreciation for what they have done.
Right.
Okay, I want to talk about more about this, but in just a moment. But first, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Ignition. Welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Chris Bergwald, visiting today with Renae Kranz about Thanksgiving. We were about to celebrate it, but why do we give thanks? The other thing I want to talk about too, Renae, along these lines is, you have what will be the title for the show in front of you. Thank who? So this is one of the interesting things to me. So we celebrate as Americans this holiday. And for those, presuming somebody gives some thought and intentionality to what the holiday is, Thanksgiving is always directed to someone.
Right.
I don't thank my car
Right.
for getting me to work. I don't thank the book that I just read for giving me something fast words or ideas or enjoyment. I give thanks to people, to someone, not something. There's a connection for me. I'm curious to see what you think, or if you have a connection to this holiday that we're about to celebrate.
If I have a connection to what?
The holiday that we're about to celebrate.
I don't understand the question.
Thanks for being honest.
Be clear.
But I don't want to telegraph where I'm going with this.
You want to know what my connection is to the holiday?
Connection between you give thanks to someone and the holiday that we're about to celebrate.
Well, to me, the thanks definitely goes to God
for
us being alive and giving us food. And
if we're
a place
going
to live
we're celebrating a national holiday about Thanksgiving. Well, you don't thank the cosmos
or the government. Just because the government instituted the holiday doesn't mean we're thanking the government. Right?
Sometime next year we should do an episode of the history of Thanksgiving and its connection to our faith too. That'd be fun. You give to something, not to even to an institution.
Right.
I mean, so let's make it a bit more friendly. Do you thank the church? Can you thank the church? Not really. I can thank a priest or the bishop or the pope, but you can't thank, you can thank a group of people, I guess.
Sure.
You can thank a group in that sense.
Yeah.
So the point, though, that I want to emphasize, thank who? We're thanking God for for the gifts that He has given to us.
Yes.
Okay. So, but going back to what we were talking about, why do we do it? I think we acknowledge what somebody's done and we're expressing our appreciation. It's a way of loving them and thanking them for what they've done.
So are you waiting for something?
Well, yes,
You're
agreed.
Not asking me questions.
Other thoughts. Well, I ask questions and you're anyway.
Well, I think this is a really important point because, okay, so if you're not religious and you're celebrating Thanksgiving, who are you thanking then?
Yeah, and I think you are thanking your family for how great they are or whatever.
Thanking the cosmos because you're still alive. I mean, I think that's sometimes where people kind of go with it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know who the cosmos is. It's not God.
Really a who at all. Okay.
I'm going, see, that's that other side.
Right.
That veer off of the topic.
So I think this is where I want to go with all this. We're celebrating Thanksgiving. This is not the one time of year you should thank people for everything.
Right.
Giving thanks should be a habit that we do. So I want to talk about how we can grow in this habit.
Okay.
With other people, human people, but also divine people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the time that we have left today, I want to talk about how do we grow in expressing thanks, giving thanks to God, but to those around us. So what are some tips, habits, life hacks on how to be better at giving thanks? I'm going to start with the God side.
Okay.
Something that I do have done for years at the encouragement of one of the priests of our diocese, Father Joe Vogel. I'm sure other people encouraged me too, but Father Joe in particular.
Father Joe.
To start my daily prayer time by thanking God. Once I'm sort of like settled and attentive and in the zone, if you will, or hopefully near to it, to thank God for the gifts that He's given me since I prayed last. So I try to pray every day. So in the last day, what are the things that I'm particularly thankful for?
Right.
So this is where, okay, I'll get to the other. So I'll start my prayer. There's something there with teaching kids about this.
Oh, okay.
But I'll get to that later. So I start my prayer by trying to think about, and not just the things that are always true. I might include those, but I also want to talk about the things that are specific to. So I could thank God for shelter.
Sure.
But I could say that every day.
Right.
Is there something particularly that I received in since I prayed last, that was different than those other normal things that I should also be grateful for?
Mm-hmm.
But I try to include those things.
Right.
So being thankful for the fact that yesterday I got to record Ignition with Renae and Bill, for instance.
Oh.
I don't think it's ever made it into my morning Thanksgiving.
I can't
but
imagine why it would. For the time spent.
Somehow that seems fitting. That was for me. Not for you.
Yes.
So I do that. Is there a way where for that be part of our daily prayer habit?
Mm-hmm.
I also, at Mass, we've talked about this before in part of the Mass series. My preparation before Mass, I'm offering it for certain intentions.
Right.
But I also try to express gratitude, specific things. But for me, it's particularly in the my daily prayer. Is there a way that you found to be helpful to grow in the habit of giving thanks to God for the gifts that He's given to you?
Well, in that same vein, usually when I am praying, that's one of the first things I do is always thank God for whatever. And on Sunday morning, now that I think about this, it's kind of funny and weird, but I always say thank you for bringing us through the week. It's like, thank you for getting me here after all that week. Here.
You love your job,
finally.
don't you, Renae?
I do. I've kind of used that phrase in my head for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Because there are challenges through your week, and to be thankful for God being there with you during those times, not just all the good things He gave you, but for walking with you during those difficult times too.
Amen.
So that might be a little bit different than what maybe everybody does, but.
And I do think, and for the Jodes of this too, for me, so you come and tell you oftentimes begin your prayer that way. I do that as well because Father's point was to start with what you're grateful for before you get to what you're asking for, what you need.
Yeah.
Is it good? Just like if you think a human relationship, if you always came to me and led with what you want from me.
And then before you walk away,
again.
and by the way, thanks.
Thanks for, yeah. It seems a little reversed.
Yeah.
What about with other people then? So for me, the being in this habit of trying to give God thanks on a daily basis for what He's given me helps, but I still have to be intentional about it. It helps me to do the same thing with my wife, my kids.
Right.
We pray night prayer as a family together. Say prayers at bedtime, whatever,
Sure. Do you go individually with each kid, or do you do it as a big group? I'm curious.
We do it as a big group.
Okay.
Before the youngest
There's just
ones,
too many of you.
before the youngest ones go to bed, we come together and we pray. And part of our prayer time, nightly basis, is to go around and give thanks for something from that day. So it might be the case every day.
Oh boy.
It might be the case that one of my kids, I'm thankful for a good day at school. And that's the prayer of Thanksgiving, perhaps every day of school.
Yes, they're not trying.
To the point where on Saturday night, I'm thankful for a good day at school.
Thankful for a good Saturday.
Thankful for a good day of work or that I could sleep in today. So I'm like, okay, you need to
push yourself.
Branch out a little bit.
Be specific.
But again, you don't want to push too much with teenagers because then they get...
Right. Is it better to be more specific about certain things, do you think, on a daily basis? Because usually even like on Sunday morning when I say that, then I'll often be maybe name certain things too. Helping us get the bulletin out on time.
I do think
things like that.
I think it's better to be specific because that actually, to giving my kids a bit of a hard time there, it requires us to be more thoughtful.
Right.
Because I could, hey, thanks for everything, Lord.
Right.
Oh, really?
See you next time.
Really?
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you for helping us get the bulletin out.
Yeah.
Thank you. And truly, sometimes I know because I've sometimes pushed them, sometimes teased them. But sometimes it was a good day at school. So that it really is their prayer.
And maybe they'll have a specific thing about that day that they can say that's good. But
exactly. Yeah. So I do. So that's part of our prayer time. But I think it also lends itself, and this comes out in nightly family prayer from time to time, it prompts us to reflect on how not just God, but then other people
Sure.
have done this. So I'm thankful that so-and-so did this for me. It becomes part of the prayer.
Sure.
Thank you. My kids I oftentimes express gratitude for a good dinner
Oh,
that
sure.
Jermaine cooked. So it's a prayer to God.
You don't
but
do that every day,
obviously-
though, then. So does Jermaine get little? She's like, was dinner not good?
No, she's not.
She would never worry
she's
about
not
that. She's a good
thin-skinned.
cook, right?
She's a great cook.
Yeah. So she would not have to worry about that.
Yeah. So I do try to, on occasion, probably should do it more often, be specific with that
Sure.
about her.
Yeah.
Okay. So Renae, we got like less than 2 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about giving thanks, anything else that you do, whether it's with God or with other people, to grow in the habit of thanking him or them
Right.
for the gifts that they have given to you?
Yeah. I've really been trying to, I don't know if Ryan has noticed this or not, maybe not. I've been trying to really thank him more often for different things. Although sometimes he'll borrow my car once in a while because I have a SUV and he just has a sedan. And so when he needs to take leaves to the leaf drop or whatever, he has to take my car.
Oh, sure.
And often he will fill it with gas or whatever. And the last time he took it, he didn't fill it with gas and it was like on E. I'm
Oh,
like-
boy.
So I had to give him a little grief about that. But I'm trying to, let him know, hey, you're a good husband and thank you for being a good husband, whatever it is. Because I think it's important that especially your spouse knows that they're a good spouse.
And I do think now some people, so
It is your vocation after all if you're married. so.
indeed, and for some more than others, words of affirmation are important.
Right.
But I think it's important for the other people to hear it, but then also it's important for me to say it.
Yes.
So in your instance, applying your example to me, for me to express verbal gratitude to Jermaine for the good meals that she cooks, it's nice for her to hear it, but it's also good for me to say
Right.
it. It has a good benefit for
It
both
increases
of
your
us.
love for her, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her knowledge of
Right.
my love for her,
Right.
which is also good.
Without having to just say, I love you. all
Yeah,
the time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Which becomes meaningless
Right.
sometimes. So, some things there, hopefully, for folks to think about as we're celebrating Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey, Renae.
Oh, I won't.
And that will wrap up this episode of Ignition. Again, you can email us ignition@sfcatholic.org with any thoughts, questions, or ideas for future episodes. And until next time, may God bless you.